The final training camp lines have been revealed, and it teases some very interesting things to come for the Habs this season, including Lane Hutson's likely defensive partner when he makes the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to get into that. Plus, Jesse, we got some quotes coming out of training camp from the Xhekaj bros, and also a Habs prospect not in training camp overseas. Vinzenz Rohrer has been off to a scorching hot start in the Swiss A-League, now up to 3 goals in 3 games, including an absolutely filthy shootout goal. The former third-round pick is surprising a lot of people right now, so we got to get into all of that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and we're going to dive straight into Vinzenz Rohrer, I think, and, well, you know what, actually, there we go, there it is, he's starting hot, this is the best chapter. We're going to jump straight into Rohrer. We got some Xhekaj stuff, we got some Reinbacher stuff, we got some opening night lines probably teased, but the big thing now, I'm going to get right back into these highlights, Jesse, is Vinzenz Rohrer. My gosh, is he ever off to a hot start. Last year, he had 7 goals in 49 games in the Swiss A-League as a 19 and 20-year-old. This year, starting out as a 20-year-old, scores a goal in the 3rd straight game. He has 3 goals in 3 games now, and oh my gosh, Jesse, when we saw this shootout move, just unbelievably silky. I mean, you know, we love to talk about the Habs prospects that are already here, but it's always fun to look at guys who, again, doesn't it feel like every single guy we talk about is overperforming somehow? Oh, there's the teaser of the lines, including him. Like we talked about, whoever it be, Filip Eriksson, and now we're seeing Engstrom's performing up to standard, and over in Russia, Bogdan, but now it's Rohrer. I'm thrilled with his performance.
Very good drafting from the Habs. Again, 3 goals in 3 games. He's been quietly playing some pretty good hockey for a minute now. And we see on that goal, what was so nice to too, is like, for sure he had the finish, but he was forechecking hard. He's the one that kind of keeps the puck in at the blue line. He rushes there to get in position of the ozone, able to keep the puck in, and then he finds that sweet spot. So much about like scoring goals, you know, at the higher levels is about like actually managing your speed, actually sometimes slowing down so that you can be in a good position once the puck actually gets to you. Of course, Johnny on the spot right in front of the net there. But Vinzenz Rohrer, like, we don't get to talk about him enough, but he is an interesting guy. Yeah. He's a very hard player, and like, he's actually very, very intelligent for his young age. Like, he's always looking to improve himself both on and off the ice. And really, he's just concerned about being the best version of himself, because he's asked, like, do you see yourself going to the NHL? Do you see kind of playing your whole career like in the pro leagues in Switzerland? He's like, I just want to look back and just say that I lived up to my full potential, whether that's in the NHL, whether it's in Switzerland. Of course, you grow up, what's the goal of making the NHL? But he just has this really kind of measured approach to life. So he's definitely putting in the work right now.
Yeah, from Austria too. I mean, you know, the Habs maybe have a soft spot for Austrian players, but it is what it is. I mean, Rohrer is, I mean, he's been great, right? He's had such flashes of brilliance, but now again, like, to be at almost half his goal total of all last year in just 3 games, I know maybe it's not sustainable, but his brand of hockey has looked really good. And the Swiss A-League is no slouch of a league. We've seen that, right? I mean, we've seen Reinbacher struggle in that league a little bit. Now he's finally going to get his real shot this year, whether it's with Montreal or Laval. But yeah, just wanted to highlight Vinzenz Rohrer. Go back and check those highlights again. Unbelievable stuff. So shout out to him. Another great underrated Habs prospect. But it's time to get into the final notes on training camp, Jesse. Preseason starts tomorrow, September 23rd, and we're getting into some great stuff. And look, training camp is awesome. It has been awesome. There's been a bunch of stuff, and I want to highlight the first thing here. It's just a couple little quotes, one from Marty St. Louis, and we got some from the Xhekaj bros. I think I'll actually start with Coach Marty's quote, and he was talking about David Reinbacher, and he said basically Reinbacher is very calm for a young kid. Even if he makes a mistake, he comes back and doesn't turn that into 2, 3, 4 mistakes. He corrects himself pretty quick. He processes the game really well. For a young guy at that position, I don't think that's the norm, and I think he's very right. I think that's kind of the thing we've always said about Reinbacher, and no, he's not the most flashy, and I think that kind of turns some fans, not necessarily the Habs even all the time, fans of other teams who watch him, turns him off a little bit because he's not that fun to watch in some aspects. I don't know, I think he is. I think I can very much appreciate the game, and it's cool to see Marty sees the same stuff in him that I think a lot of Habs fans are seeing. It's just a matter of putting it all together, getting a full, great, healthy season with lots of development in North America, and I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised with how he develops.
Learning quickly, learning on the job. And, you know, for these bigger guys, just like Slaf, it might take a minute for them to get acclimatized. Like the same thing with Slaf. Like he made a couple mistakes, but what allowed him to get to the level he's at now is he didn't keep making the same mistake 2, 3, 4 times, because that's when you kind of start getting stuck in neutral a little bit, right? You're not moving forward. So as long as you're able to learn, that's absolutely it. And we know a coach like Marty, he's very experimental. Like he wants players to try different things because that's how you learn. If you always kind of stay in that box, you're never quite able to do it. So yeah, seeing a lot of composure from Reinbacher. Personally, I've been really impressed with just like his confidence in interviews. I would have to say, Josh, like I wasn't even expecting to really see that from him, but just the way that he's carrying himself again, being confident without being cocky, being sure, and really just putting in that time, right? So I feel like this is going to be a guy that we don't need to worry about him. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there because that's normal even for other high picks, right? But this is par for the course. We got a really good player in David Reinbacher.
I'm super pumped for him. Like they talk about his maturity. Rob Ramage, I think it was, who said like last year he had the maturity kind of was it on the ice, and now this year he has it more off the ice. And so it's just that's the thing, and you see it so much, whether it's in interviews, whether it's when he's skating, with controlling the puck, whatever. The dude just seems like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I got this, So really, really cool stuff from Reinbacher. Always great to hear what Coach Marty has to say about it. But he's not the only one we wanted to talk about, Jesse. The brothers Xhekaj had their nice little interview here as well. And, they're talking about how they'd love to one day have A Xhekaj and F Xhekaj in the back of the jerseys. They want to play together so badly. And, hey, it's looking like for preseason, they might just get that chance. We'll get into the lines in just a second. But I did have a quote from Arber that I thought, I just wanted to highlight. The whole thing's great. I'll link it down below for their whole media availability. But Arber's quote, they asked Florian, like, hey, do you think people are going to mess with him? And before Florian could answer, Arber goes, nobody's going to test him because I'm going to be there. And then later they asked Arber another question about Florian's development. He said, man, I remember watching him playing in the OHL, and everyone's always saying, oh, you think you're your brother. But no, he handles himself really well, and I'm proud of him. And I love this, right? There's always, obviously, there's this brotherly love, and they also love to mess with each other, saying Arber's going to pick up the checks, the tickets, all of this kind of stuff. But no, it is really cool to see that they genuinely want to play with each other. And Arber's got Florian's back, and honestly, like, he did say too, hey, Florian didn't get bullied at school. He's no slouch himself, but to have that kind of support from your older brother who also knows what it takes as sort of a both underrated in a little bit of a way by a lot of NHL teams and scouts and stuff, to what it takes to turn that into an NHL career. I mean, I think Florian's in such a great position.
He definitely is, and having fought in, Arber Xhekaj his whole life, it definitely toughened him up. And it's been for the benefit of him, but also for this Montreal Canadiens team, for us as well. So you have to feel like there was already family vibes kind of with this team already, but the Xhekaj brothers are just taking it to another level just because you see like Xhekaj's like so proud. You see that Florian's is kind of looking up to his older brother. And it's nice to see that Arber is so proud of the way that Florian carries himself. Like he has called, Florian a beast, right? And for sure, maybe Arber might be like a little bit biased, but like, I don't know, for me, like Arber is a straight shooter. Like he's not calling somebody a beast, like unless they're really kind of bringing it every single night. So you have to see that, have to love that mentality. And you have to feel like in a certain ways, like for Florian, just getting a little bit of that advice all the time. Here's what you need to do to be a pro. Here's the type of habits that you need to have living with Arber all the time. Is really going to be a lot of these little things that are going to help him so much in his career.
Yeah, little things rub off on you, right? When you're spending all your time around an NHL, you just, and like doing their routine, like you just learn, right? And if you don't do what they're doing, well, you're not going to make it. Like, so it's just really cool. I mean, I'd love having like these sets of brothers in our system. I can't wait to see who Florian ends up playing with in the preseason, coming up starting tomorrow if he gets to play, which he seems like he will. So I don't know. I'm excited. Maybe he'll get to play with Luke Tuck again, which would be hilarious. Of course, Tyler Thorpe no longer here. He's over playing the WHL. He had another assist in his recent game. So starting off the season with 3 points in 2 games, really, really nice. But yeah, let us know what you think about that stuff down below. Final thing though, Jesse, we got to get into some of these lines. Oh, it's so interesting. Oh, I love this so much. It's the time of year where we're seeing all these lines come to life. We're getting teasers. We're getting spoilers for the regular season, and we're just going to show it to you here now. I'm going to make it big. Feel free to pause, zoom in, do whatever you need to do. Hopefully it's clear enough. I tried to take the highest definition screenshot I could. But this is, I could have just typed him out, but I wanted to show you the real thing. This was posted, I think, by Anthony Maltino on Twitter. But the big thing here, Jesse, is not just the forwards. I mean, we've seen these groups. Team 1 and Team 2 seem to be these kind of preseason type teams. Team 3 is more like kind of the outliers on the edge, the guys who are not quite there at the next level. But the defense on Team 2 is interesting. You got Engstrom, Hudson, Mailloux, Savard, Struble, and Trudeau. And the guys that were together is Hudson and Savard. And, that's something that you definitely mentioned. I definitely thought of as well. The chat mentioned a lot in our recent live stream how that could be the pairing. David Savard's a great mentor. He helped Xhekaj a lot, and he played a little bit with Hudson. It's not only us, though. As Simon-Olivier Laurent put it, he said, look, we kind of saw these pairings. Look at Hudson paired with David Savard. No one will be surprised if this duo stays intact for the rest of camp. And then Engel said, and for the season. So, what do you think of this, Jesse? I know this is something we've thrown out there, but it seems like they're trying it right away. I know we saw Hudson with Mailloux in the rookie camp. We saw him with various different things like Barron. We've seen him with some different guys, but to see him with Savard feels maybe the most realistic, with Xhekaj being with Barron, and seems like something I think we should maybe start preparing for come a few weeks from now.
And I'm here for it. I cannot wait to see these two together. Josh, it's looking very similar to an opening night roster.
Oh yeah.
And what I like so much about like these preseason games was like in years past, the preseason roster was just like a complete wash. Like there was no semblance of like what this would be in the regular season at all. But Marty St. Louis, he's hitting the grounds running. They got their work boots on already. They're training really hard in camp. And I like that, like going into the first preseason game and even early, it's like they're trying to give a pretty good semblance of what the lines will be. And as we kind of break it down, a lot of those lines, I'll see a common theme, Josh. I wonder if, maybe some people are kind of picking up on, not just with the forward lines, but even with like the defense core, where you're going to have a little bit of skill, a little bit of grit. First line, I would say that grit, a little bit of that is like Slav, obviously with the skill to fit in with the first line. Second line, you got Newhook can kind of do that. Third line, you split up Anderson and Gallagher on the third and fourth lines, which kind of do that while having a guy on the bottom who has the skill on that third line. So like having one on that third line, I have to say is going to be nice. I know some people are feeling bad from his teammates. He's going to be a solid threat on the third line, offering much more scoring opportunity. So I'm seeing that balance, which I find is kind of so important, which is why I always thought that Hudson and Savard would be a good pairing together. I think that experience this early on for Hudson is going to be so big. It's somebody that he really looks up to. It's who he played with last year in his short 2 games in the NHL there. So he's just looking to get it cooking again very shortly with him.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? Since we're on the subject of Hudson, I didn't have this ready. I'm going to drag it in and we're going to do this live here. Oh my gosh, we got to watch this absolute piece of art, I guess, one more time. Just absolutely unbelievable pass there yesterday. Come on, Heineman, you got to do better than that. But still, insane stuff from Hudson. And to see him playing with Savard, I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head there. He's going to do everything that we want to see him do to pair with a guy like Lane Hudson. Savard is that guy who goes down to block a ton of shots. He's never afraid to be physical. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but he still has a bit of offensive upside. He knows how to move the puck. He still has those Savardian spinoramas. Sometimes, definitely named after him, as we all know, and not any other Savard that's ever played the game. But I think with Hudson, it's going to be great to see, and I think we'll end up seeing some mixing up. Right now we got Reinbacher playing a bit with Matheson, with Guhle, of course, still out after having his appendix removed. So going to be interesting. Let us know what you think of these lines. Anything you would change? Anything you're really excited for? Not excited for? Let us know down below. We'd love to hear from all of you. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. The subscriptions have been going crazy, and I'm going to keep asking every single day because you guys keep hitting that button, and we really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.